Welcome to Heartline Stories. Today's story follows a millionaire who crosses paths with his pregnant ex-wife in the most unexpected way. When she suddenly collapses on the street, his actions will leave you stunned. What will he do? How will their lives change? Stay tuned to find out. Once upon a time in a bustling city, there lived a millionaire named Michael. Michael was known for his big heart and even bigger bank account. He owned a huge company and lived in a fancy mansion on the hill. People admired him for his generosity and kindness. One sunny afternoon, Michael was taking a walk downtown when he saw a familiar face. It was Jessica, his ex-wife, who he hadn't seen in years. Jessica looked different. She was pregnant, and her belly was quite large. Suddenly, as Michael watched from a distance, Jessica started to stumble. Before he could react, she collapsed on the sidewalk, clutching her belly. People around her gasped and started to panic. Without thinking twice, Michael sprinted towards her. He knelt down beside Jessica and tried to wake her up. "Jessica! Jessica, can you hear me?" he shouted, his voice trembling. Jessica slowly opened her eyes and looked up at Michael with a weak smile. "Michael, I need help," she whispered. Michael nodded, his mind racing. He gently picked her up and hurried towards his car. He placed her in the back seat and quickly called an ambulance. As he drove towards the hospital, he kept glancing back at Jessica, who was breathing heavily. "Hang in there, Jessica. We're almost there," Michael reassured her, even though he was scared too. He saw a team of doctors and nurses rushing out with a stretcher. They quickly helped Jessica onto it and wheeled her inside. Michael followed closely, his heart pounding in his chest. In the emergency room, the doctors and nurses worked swiftly, checking Jessica's vital signs and preparing her for treatment. Michael stood by, feeling helpless but determined to stay by her side. Jessica reached out her hand, and Michael grasped it tightly. "Michael, I'm scared," Jessica whispered, her voice shaking. "I'm here, Jessica. You're not alone," Michael replied, squeezing her hand. "They're going to take good care of you." Just then a doctor approached Michael. "Sir, we need to take her to the operating room immediately. The baby is in distress," he explained. Michael nodded, his face pale. "Please do whatever it takes to save them both," he said, his voice filled with urgency. As Jessica was wheeled away, Michael sat down in the waiting room, his mind racing with worry. Time seemed to crawl by as he waited for any news. Minutes turned into hours and Michael found himself pacing the room, unable to sit still. He noticed other families, all sharing the same tense air of worry. Some were comforting each other, while others sat silently, lost in their thoughts. Michael felt a mix of emotions, fear for Jessica and the baby, but also a strange sense of responsibility and determination. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a nurse approached Michael. "Mr. Michael, the doctor would like to speak with you," she said gently. Michael followed the nurse to a private room where the doctor was waiting. "Mr. Michael, Jessica and the baby are stable now," the doctor began, a reassuring smile on his face. "It was a close call, but both of them are doing well." Michael felt a wave of relief wash over him. "Thank you, doctor. Can I see them?" he asked eagerly. "Of course, Jessica is still resting, but you can see her in the recovery room," the doctor replied. Michael hurried to the recovery room, his heart pounding with a mix of joy and anxiety. When he entered, he saw Jessica lying in the bed, looking tired but relieved. Beside her was a small crib with their baby, sleeping peacefully. "Michael," Jessica said softly, her eyes welling up with tears. "Thank you for being here." Michael approached the bed and gently took her hand. "I wouldn't be anywhere else, Jessica. We're in this together," he said, his voice filled with emotion. Days turned into weeks, and Michael was a constant presence by Jessica's side as she recovered. The baby, whom they named Benjamin, grew stronger each day, filling the room with his joyful coos and tiny giggles. Despite the unexpected reunion, Michael and Jessica found themselves reconnecting in ways they never thought possible. One sunny afternoon, Michael decided to take Jessica and Benjamin to a nearby park. As they strolled through the park, Benjamin nestled in his stroller. They talked about their past and the future. "Michael, I never imagined we would be here, like this," Jessica said, her eyes sparkling with a mix of gratitude and hope. Michael smiled, looking at her with newfound admiration. "Life has a way of surprising us, Jessica. I never stopped caring about you, and now we have a second chance to make things right," he replied. They came across an ice cream stand. Michael bought them each a cone, and they sat on a bench enjoying the sweet treat. Benjamin watched them with wide eyes, fascinated by the colorful scoops. Suddenly, a group of children playing nearby started to gather around Benjamin, intrigued by the little baby. Michael and Jessica watched with amusement as the children made funny faces and tried to make Benjamin laugh. "Looks like Benjamin is already popular," Jessica chuckled, her heart swelling with happiness. Michael nodded, his eyes never leaving Benjamin. "He's our little miracle, Jessica, and I promise to do everything I can to give him the best life possible," he said, his voice filled with determination. Michael and Jessica settled into a new routine with Benjamin. Michael found himself spending more time away from his office, choosing to work from home so he could be closer to his family. Jessica, too, was adjusting to her new role as a mother, finding joy in the little moments they shared together. One evening, while Jessica was putting Benjamin to bed, Michael decided to cook dinner for them. He whipped up a delicious meal of spaghetti and meatballs, hoping to surprise her. When Jessica walked into the kitchen, she was greeted by the sight of a beautifully set table and the aroma of freshly cooked food. "Michael, this looks amazing," Jessica exclaimed, her eyes lighting up with delight. Michael smiled, pulling out a chair for her. "I thought we could use a special night in," he said, sitting down beside her. As they enjoyed their dinner, they talked about their hopes and dreams for the future. Michael shared his desire to spend more time with his family and maybe even start a new business that would allow him to be more present in their lives. Jessica, on the other hand, dreamed of writing a children's book, inspired by their journey together. "You know, Michael, I think we make a pretty good team," Jessica said, reaching across the table to hold his hand. Michael squeezed her hand gently. "I couldn't agree more, Jessica. Together, we can achieve anything," he replied, his heart full of love and gratitude. In the weeks that followed, Michael and Jessica continued to build their new life together. They found joy in the simple moments, like taking Benjamin for strolls in the park or reading bedtime stories. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Michael turned to Jessica with a thoughtful expression. "Jessica, there's something I've been meaning to ask you," he began, his voice gentle. Jessica looked at him curiously. "What is it, Michael?" Michael took a deep breath. "I've been thinking about what you said, about writing a children's book. I think it's a wonderful idea and I want to help you make it a reality. Maybe we can work on it together," he suggested. Jessica's eyes lit up with excitement. "Oh, Michael, that would be amazing. I've always wanted to write stories for children, and having you by my side would make it even more special," she said, smiling warmly. From that day on, Michael and Jessica began brainstorming ideas for their children's book. They would sit together late into the night, coming up with characters and plot lines that would captivate young readers. Michael's business acumen and Jessica's creative flair made them the perfect team. One day, while they were working on the book, Michael had an idea. Why don't we create a character based on Benjamin? He could be the hero of our story, he suggested. Jessica's face lit up with joy. That's a fantastic idea, Michael. Benjamin the Brave. It has a nice ring to it, she said, already imagining the adventures their little hero would embark on. Michael and Jessica worked diligently on their children's book, creating a world of adventure and wonder for their character, Benjamin the Brave. They spent hours crafting the story, imagining all the exciting escapades Benjamin would have. Each night they read their drafts to little Benjamin, who seemed to enjoy the tales, even if he was too young to fully understand. One evening, while Michael was reading a particularly thrilling chapter to Benjamin, Jessica had an idea. Michael, what if we included some illustrations in the book? I think it would make the story even more engaging for children, she suggested. Michael nodded in agreement. That's a great idea, Jessica. I know a talented illustrator who could bring our characters to life, he said, already envisioning the vibrant images that would accompany their words. They reached out to the illustrator, a kind and creative artist named Sam, who was thrilled to join the project. Sam's illustrations perfectly captured the essence of Benjamin the Brave and his adventures, adding a visual dimension to the story that made it even more captivating. As they continued to work on the book, Michael and Jessica grew closer, their bonds strengthened by their shared passion and dedication. They found joy in every step of the process, from brainstorming new ideas to reviewing Sam's beautiful artwork. Michael and Jessica's children's book project began to take shape. They decided to call the book Benjamin the Brave and His Magical Adventures. With Sam's stunning illustrations and their captivating story, they knew they had created something special. One day they received exciting news from a publisher. The publisher loved their book and wanted to publish it. Michael and Jessica were overjoyed and couldn't wait to share their story with children everywhere. To celebrate, they decided to host a small book launch party at their home. They invited friends, family, and even some local children to join in the festivities. The house was decorated with balloons, streamers, and posters of Benjamin the Brave. As guests began to arrive, Michael and Jessica couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. They had come a long way from that fateful day on the street, and now they were about to share their journey with the world. During the party, Michael stood up to give a short speech. Thank you all for being here to celebrate this special moment with us. This book is not just a story, it's a testament to the power of love, determination, and second chances. We hope that Benjamin the Brave will inspire children to believe in themselves and their dreams, he said, his voice filled with emotion. The guests applauded, and Michael and Jessica beamed with happiness. They spent the rest of the evening signing copies of the book and sharing their story with everyone. After the successful book launch party, Benjamin the Brave and His Magical Adventures became a beloved hit among children. Schools and libraries started requesting copies, and Michael and Jessica were thrilled to see their creation make such a positive impact. One day they received an invitation from a local elementary school to give a talk and read their book to the students. Michael and Jessica eagerly accepted, excited to share their story with the new audience. When they arrived at the school, they were greeted by a group of enthusiastic children. their faces lighting up with excitement. "Good morning, everyone," Michael began, smiling at the eager faces before him. "We're so happy to be here today to share our book with you." Jessica held up a copy of Benjamin the Brave and began to read the story aloud. The children listened intently, their eyes wide with wonder as they followed Benjamin's magical adventures. When Jessica finished reading, the room erupted in applause. "We hope you enjoyed the story," Jessica said, beaming at the children. "Remember, you can be brave and have amazing adventures, just like Benjamin." After the reading, the children had a chance to ask questions. One little girl raised her hand and asked, "How did you come up with the idea for the book?" Michael smiled and explained, "The idea came from our own experiences and our love for storytelling. We wanted to create a character who could inspire children to be brave and believe in themselves." Another child asked, "Will there be more books about Benjamin?" Jessica and Michael exchanged a knowing glance. "We're working on new stories for Benjamin, so stay tuned," Jessica replied, winking at the children. After their visit to the elementary school, Michael and Jessica were more inspired than ever. They continued to work on new adventures for Benjamin the Brave, each story filled with excitement, bravery, and valuable lessons for young readers. One day, as they were working in their home office, Michael received a phone call. It was from a television producer who had heard about their book. The producer was interested in turning Benjamin the Brave and his magical adventures into a children's TV show. "Jessica, you'll never believe this," Michael exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement. "A TV producer wants to create a show based on our book." Jessica's face lit up with joy. "That's incredible, Michael. Think of how many more children we can reach with our stories," she said, her heart swelling with pride. They agreed to meet with the producer to discuss the details. At the meeting, the producer shared his vision for the show, which included colorful animations and engaging storylines that would capture the hearts of children everywhere. Michael and Jessica were thrilled with the ideas and eagerly agreed to move forward with the project. As production on the TV show began, Michael and Jessica found themselves busier than ever. They were involved in every aspect of the show, from writing scripts to overseeing the animation process. It was a lot of work, but they were passionate about bringing Benjamin the Brave's adventures to life on screen. Months of hard work and dedication paid off, and soon the first episode of Benjamin the Brave was ready to air. Michael, Jessica, and Benjamin gathered in their living room, excited to watch the premiere together. As the colorful animation filled the screen and the theme song played, they couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. "Look, Benjamin, that's you," Jessica said, pointing to the screen. Benjamin clapped his hands in delight, his eyes wide with wonder. The show was an instant hit. Children everywhere fell in love with Benjamin the Brave and his magical adventures. Schools and parents praised the show for its positive messages and engaging storylines. Michael and Jessica were overwhelmed with joy as they received letters from young fans who shared how much they loved the show. One day, while Michael was at a book signing event, a young boy approached him with a big smile on his face. "Mr. Michael, I love Benjamin the Brave. Benjamin is my hero," the boy exclaimed, holding a copy of the book. Michael knelt down to the boy's level and smiled warmly. "I'm so glad you liked the book. Remember, you can be brave just like Benjamin," he said, signing the book with a personalized message. As the boy ran off to join his parents, Michael felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew that their stories were making a difference in the lives of children, inspiring them to be brave and believe in themselves. Back at home, Jessica was busy working on new ideas for the show. She had a notebook filled with sketches and story ideas, each one more exciting than the last. Michael joined her at the kitchen table, and they spent the evening brainstorming together, their minds buzzing with creativity. Michael and Jessica's dedication to Benjamin the Brave paid off as the show continued to gain popularity. They received invitations to speak at schools, libraries, and even on television, sharing their story and the inspiration behind their beloved character. Children everywhere were captivated by Benjamin's adventures and the positive messages woven into each episode. One sunny afternoon, as they were enjoying a picnic in the park with Benjamin, Jessica had an idea. Michael, what if we hosted a Benjamin the Brave festival? We could invite families to join us for a day of fun, games, and storytelling, she suggested. Michael's eyes lit up with excitement. That's a fantastic idea, Jessica. It would be a wonderful way to connect with our audience and celebrate the success of the show, he agreed. They began planning the festival, organizing activities like face painting, puppet shows, and a special reading corner where children could listen to stories. They even arranged for a live performance of Benjamin the Brave, complete with costumes and props. The day of the festival arrived, and the park was filled with laughter and joy. Families gathered to enjoy the festivities, and children excitedly participated in the activities. Michael and Jessica took turns reading stories to eager listeners, sharing the magic of Benjamin's adventures with everyone. As the sun began to set, Michael took the stage to thank everyone for coming. We're so grateful for your support and love for Benjamin the Brave. This journey has been incredible, and we couldn't have done it without you, he said, his voice filled with gratitude. Jessica joined him on stage, holding Benjamin in her arms. Remember, you all have the power to be brave and make a difference. Just like Benjamin, she said, smiling at the crowd. The festival ended with a spectacular fireworks display, lighting up the night sky with vibrant colors. Michael, Jessica, and Benjamin watched in awe, feeling a deep sense of happiness and fulfillment. They knew that their journey was far from over and that there were many more adventures to come. As the festival fireworks faded and the night sky returned to its tranquil state, Michael, Jessica, and Benjamin made their way back home, their hearts full of joy and contentment. The success of Benjamin the Brave had exceeded their wildest dreams, bringing happiness and inspiration to countless children. Back at their cozy home, they put Benjamin to bed and then sat together on the porch, reflecting on their incredible journey. Michael turned to Jessica, his eyes filled with love and gratitude. Jessica, this has been an amazing adventure. I'm so grateful for everything we've accomplished together, he said, taking her hand. Jessica smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. Michael, none of this would have been possible without you. We've created something truly special, and I can't wait to see what the future holds, she replied. As they sat there hand in hand, they knew that their story was far from over. With their hearts united and their dreams intertwined, Michael and Jessica were ready to face whatever challenges and adventures lay ahead. Together, they had proven that love, bravery, and determination could overcome any obstacle, and they were excited to continue inspiring children with their tales of Benjamin the Brave. And so their journey continued, filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities as they embraced the future with open hearts and minds. Thank you for joining us on this Heartline journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, true bravery lies in unexpected moments. What will your story be?